Hi, my name is Rosalie, and this is my name sign. So this video is going to be about how parents, some tips as to how parents can help support their students who have special needs. So you should know that children of an early age who need support, the school department is supposed to provide those services so that student can become successful and independent. As a parent, you need to be a proper advocate and maybe even fight for the things that your child needs. It is extremely important that the school understands that you need an all-inclusive situation to understand the support for the student. If this discussion with the educational department isn't successful, there are laws that you can turn to support and help your child. So, if there is no documentation with an LLC, then a parent can't provide much support for their child. It's extremely hard to understand the laws of that and make everything successful. If you can't discuss the problem out and find a resolution, then you need to turn to a hearing. The BASE. So this hearing is extremely important to keep all documentation, all of the evidence from meetings and different discussions. So this video, I will provide 5 tips for any parent, for any type of meeting, and even a hearing for a parent who needs help. So tip 1, track and organize important information. This means all of the necessary paperwork must be filed. So special education goes from the age of 3 years old to age of 22 or graduating high school. So all of that paperwork that you accumulate over those years, it's going to be a lot. But you need to understand that this is important. For example, files that you're going to need to keep: IEPs, evaluations, report cards, letters written, emails, conversations with teachers or the administration or members of the board. Even notes need to be put down, taken during a VP conversation maybe. If something has changed, the policies with the school has changed, that needs to be documented too. Maybe even sometimes a student's homework. In those files, you also need to include medical information. The point is, you need to keep everything. After a year or so, don't throw it away. It's important that you keep this just in case something happens, so you have the support to back it up. So the next step is to make sure that you write down the necessary complaints or concerns from a parent. As a parent, you're going to have concerns about things. So write down anything that you're concerned about or any issues that you have. Send that letter after keeping a copy and filing it, so you have proof that you let them know. So this is also an important piece of information that you need to write down and keep. To have an issue resolved and understand that issue has resolved, and if something happens again, then you can go back to that letter. If you don't feel that the letter is appropriate, you feel that you need to change something, change it again, copy it, and then send it back. So if there's a complaint during a meeting, there needs to be a follow-up as well, and a follow-up discussion to make sure that those concerns and those complaints were discussed properly. And if another problem shows up as well, you have the evidence to back up your reasoning. So if you are received an IEP and you disagree with it, don't call. Don't go in person. You should head to the post office and get a certified mailing certificate, which means when they receive that rejected IEP, they have to sign a copy of that certified letter so you get a receipt. So the third suggestion is to really understand what you're signing before you sign it. So an IEP, for example, you have to sign, parents have, and the school have to sign and decide on an IEP. So everything that's in an IEP, you need to understand what's going on. Really take your time. Don't just skim it. Really let the school know that you need to understand this and you will take your time. That is a parent's responsibility to make sure that their children's progress and success and even their struggles are being dealt with. Don't just turn a blind eye and sign the IEPs. Really make sure that you monitor your students' progress before you sign any new IEPs. If you see that the goals are met, then it's easier. So, if a parent is struggling to get the right services, for example, if you've been struggling for 3 years and you have documentation of that, you can go to a hearing. And you have to complain. And it's with every IEP. So my fourth suggestion, don't go ahead and try everything by yourself. Have someone there who is familiar with the system, a private counselor, maybe a mentor. So the team at the school, the IEP team, if you don't understand something, have them come with you so they can explain, and then you can move forward. And going forward with a BASE is important to have that person there to make sure that they're available for that time, that they know what's going on with your child and they know what's going on with the school and they've already observed what's been going on. That extremely benefits your case. That individual that you ask for help, they need to meet the child and have experience with it. If they haven't been around the child or the school, they're not going to, the BSEA is not going to trust that person's knowledge or perspective of what's going on. And it's an extremely complicated and frustrating, stressful process if you don't have the right people involved. So the last and final tip. So the law doesn't mandate that an IEP is perfect for every student. It doesn't need to be perfect. So an IEP is all it's supposed to do means it's supposed to provide some benefits for your child and meet that child's specific needs and not provide all of them. So in a public setting, they only provide the minimum of what the student in a hearing education setting needs. So, With these 5 tips and suggestions, this will help build and support the right foundation for a special education child.